Hello guys and welcome back to TNT Madness. Today we're going to be looking at something that is extremely awesome but extremely advanced and complicated, and that is something I like to call the variable sand stacker. And the reason it is called a variable sand stacker is because it is not like your traditional sand stacker. I'll be actually doing quite a relatively big one later on that is a full-on sand stacker. This one is more of a slightly simplified version, even though it looks really complicated, of the normal sand stacker. And the reason it is so much more compact is because it does not use the same functionality as a normal sand stacker. This is something that is called the variable sand stacker because it has the potential to stack 250 sand, but most likely will only stack half that at most. So this can fire up to 250 sand, but it can only hit relative to 250 sand. So this uses some of the old mechanics that I used in the slab buster that I used in the last episode, which fires the sand down onto blocks instead of firing TNT down on blocks. And it also does another thing which fires some more sand above it, because some sand can fire below it and some above it and some just near it, because this does not have the same power. Because normally when you have a sand stacker, you have one module that fires all the sand into one condensed little area, and then you have TNT that fires off that giant block of sand out, and then you have TNT firing it down. So that makes it very large and very complex, and this is relatively simple compared to that, and it is something that is really nice to actually see. So let's take a look at this thing in action. Okay guys, so what we have here is we've got a giant relative about 100 high block wall, but from the lowest point on this cannon to the lowest point where we have upside down half slabs, it is only 70 blocks, so this can potentially stack 70 blocks and it can fire up higher, and only reason I did 70 is because you can get it to relative height. And so if we come around the back here, we can see this is not like a normal TNT cannon. It is two-step instead of one-step, and that's only because there's a lever and the button, and this is only to save space. If you're going to build a normal sand cannon, you would have it all done in one, but it'd be about 4 times the size. So if we just flick the lever here, we can see all the sand starts falling, and then after it reaches about the top, we can press the button, and then all the sand will start falling. The TNT gets pushed, along, then you see some gets fallen down there, and then more sand gets fired up here, and then as you can see, it starts stacking quite a lot of sand, but quite a lot of the actual sand blocks will accumulate at the bottom. So as you can see, that's stacked about 50 blocks, which is not actually that impressive, but considering how compact this is, and it's something that hasn't really been seen before, it's not doing too bad. I have just reloaded the cannon, so now I can actually explain how this thing is going to work. So the first thing we have here is our 2 modules. And these modules are just this. All this does is retract those top pistons, so all the sand can fall onto the cobwebs. And then this module here just fires off a bunch of redstone. So the first thing that happens after you press the red button is it does the same sort of thing that we have with a compressed cannon. It activates all these 3 dispensers, then it goes along the middle here and fires off all these 20 dispensers, and then of course after everything else is done, it'll fire these off, which will push all this down here to this slab point here, and then we'll fire off everything after that. So after that, we can come around the back here, and all this does is go into a torch, which will retract this piston and then push it again after specific timing. That's why the button is wooden instead of stone, and that's also a reason why you can save a lot on repeaters, and that's why it's more compact, because normally you'd use water. And then after that, we have got some redstone here that activates a 4 tick delay, and then you have got more redstone going along here, which activates a total of 7 dispensers instead of the measly 3 on the 5 on the other cannon I did. And the reason for this is just so you can get a bigger hammer, is what it's called when you are firing down the sand, either down or up. In this case, it was both. So that is pretty much how that works, and then after that we've got a giant line of redstone going along the side here. That's also why this block is here, so we can get this extra repeater stuck in here to save some space. And all this does is go all the way along the back, and then along to this little point here, and then it splits off into 2 directions. So all this is a timing system. So what happens is when all the sand is pressed into this cobweb, this will fire off first, so that way when the sand is in the midpoint here, it will push the sand again so it can fire off. And also the reason we don't have the sand placed up here like we normally do is so that the actual hammer, is what we're going to be calling it, can go along this whole line without being interrupted or being cut off. I actually had a huge problem with this when I was originally building it. So that's why you have this little area cut off, because this piece of TNT is going to be stuck the whole way along in this actual barrel. And the only reason this barrel exists is so it can be deadly accurate, so the TNT on the top can fire the sand down, and so the sand doesn't fall into every possible position there is. So that's really how this works, and it's really cool how it works. So anyway, let's get on with the tutorial. Now on to the tutorial. So what we have here is just a giant mesh of colors, but the first thing you're going to need is a 15 by 7 area with this tiny bit at the end being the barrel with the white glass. That's just where the barrel is, and we've just got some tiny bits in between where there is glass, where there is no redstone or anything placed on any height of these blocks. So let's say these 4 blocks here, these 2 blocks here, these 4 blocks here, and these green glass blocks here are just for where you're actually going to be standing for when you're firing it, which you can place your button or lever on top to actually make it so these spaces aren't being used, but it's just where I would recommend you stand when you're firing it. So then we've just got iron, which is where your general redstone stuff is going to be, like your pistons and your dispensers and all stuff and things. And then after that we've got this gold bit here, which is where your barrel is, and this tiny bit at the end here is where the water stream ends, and then this is where your actual barrel starts. So that's like the cannon area where you have all your propellant. This is your barrel where you start putting in TNT and all the sand and all that, and then you just have this extension of the barrel where the TNT and everything else is fired out, so it's dead accurate. So moving on from that, you're going to need some building blocks, some slabs, 53 redstone, 26 redstone repeaters, 31 dispensers, 15 pistons, a redstone torch, and some more trivial things like a water bucket, a button, has to be wooden, and a lever, and of course some things you're going to need to fire it, which is going to be at least 5 cobwebs, and a ton of TNT, because you're going to have to fill each individual dispenser, and there's 31 of them, and is really as much sand as you want. Anywhere between 20 and 50 I would recommend stacking it, but as you stack it higher and higher and higher, there is a less and less chance of you using all of the sand, because you're firing more sand into a more condensed area. Okay guys, so the first bit we're going to be building is the actual barrel from here to here, and then we'll just add stuff to it later, and I'm going to be building it out of glass just so later in the tutorial we can see how everything is put together and added together. So the first thing you want to do is you just want to create an area just like we have here, and you want to make sure there are blocks on either side because the barrel is going to be going down. Then you want to go up by 5 blocks, then you want to make sure there's something on top like so, then you want to make the other side 5 blocks, and then you want to destroy just every piece in the middle, and for later purposes we're going to be placing a slab here, but for the rest of it it's just going to be here. So now that we have got our giant barrel done, I also changed these bottom bits to glass too. We can start building the main propellant or cannon bit of the actual TNT cannon. So we're going to be using our dispensers and redstone and just a few repeaters for this. So the first thing you want to do is come to the back here and place down your dispensers around you like so. Then you want to come up a little bit and place down a 2x5 grid of dispensers on either side of you like so. Then after that you just want to place a block here, and then you want to place 2 blocks here to cover it up so nothing can escape out of here. After that you want to come back here, place down your water source block here, so that way the TNT flows this way, so this TNT doesn't get caught in this, and all this TNT flows down to here slightly quicker. After that you just want to place a redstone repeater here and here, followed by a block placed on top of this because we're going to be getting an extra repeater out of here later on. Then you want to place redstone on top of all of them. Then you want to go ahead and place your redstone along all of these dispensers. What that'll do is it will power these 3 dispensers, then after a tick it'll fire all these dispensers, so that way you've got your propellant, which is propelling your real propellant, which is then going to fire off all your sand and TNT later on. Okay guys, so now we're going to be building the actual sand pushing area where you're going to have your sand stacker, and the first thing you're going to do is you want to actually get rid of a 4x5 area here and replace the bottom blocks with slabs, so that way you've got an area where it does not interfere with the TNT is going to be firing along the top, but you have an area where the sand can actually go in here quite comfortably. So the first thing you want to do is place down a 5x1 area of pistons like so, then you want to go behind them and then just place down your repeaters like so, and redstone behind them. We'll connect it up later. After that you want to then place a block on top of this and behind it, so that way we can replace these blocks here with another set of pistons. So what this will do is this will do the sand stacking effect of pushing the sand onto these pistons so then they can push it into the barrel. After that, you want to place more blocks here. It can be glass, can be anything because they're not going to be powered. Then after that, you can place your final set of pistons along the top. Then you want to place down redstone along the back here, so that way I can power these pistons down here. And then after that, you want to then place another set of blocks and place redstone along the top, and this will connect up to your lever later on as well. So the next part we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a little ring of dispensers up here, which is going to fire off your hammer or TNT that fires into this top thing to fire the sand down and up and everywhere else. And that's what we're going to be building now. So the first thing you want to do is you want to destroy this block here. Then you want to place a block behind it like so. Place down your piston facing inwards so that way the TNT gets pushed into the barrel. And then the next thing you want to do is you want to destroy this block as well. And then you want to place a two high dispenser ring around you like so, and this is so each of the dispensers gets fired in, except you do not have the same problem of the TNT firing into the transparent block, and that's only because this way we don't have to add any extra redstone to power these little pieces here. And that's the only thing we need to do here. After that, you just want to place slabs here. It can actually be normal blocks if you want, and then you can just place a ring of redstone around the side like so. So now that you have built your three main parts, which is your cannon, your stacker, and your hammer, we can now spend the rest of the tutorial just connecting it up and doing all the timing and wiring and all that to each different point. So the first thing we're going to be doing is connecting this up to that. So what you want to do is place a block here with redstone on top, with your first repeater being set to 2 ticks followed by 6 on 4 ticks delay, and then after that we can actually set up our main bit here one of two ways. First thing we can do is we can place a block here with redstone there and a block like this, or we can use redstone torch there with a block up this. Either way is fine, it does the exact same job and it doesn't really matter. They both power the piston and it does the same job. So the next bit we're going to be building is the thing that goes from here to here. So the first thing you want to do is you want to place down a redstone repeater here set to 4 ticks delay, followed by a block. Then you want to place a really long chain of redstone repeaters that go all the way down to this block at the far end, which is this block here. Then after that you want to place a block there with redstone here, followed by a redstone repeater with a block on top and a block here. Then you want to place redstone here and here, and then all you have to do here is place a block here and here, and actually sorry, this is one higher. Then you want to place your redstone here, then a redstone repeater set to 3 ticks delay so you don't have to change any of these repeaters. Then after that place a block here, followed by an upside down half slab with a piece of redstone here and a repeater, and that has got this whole thing set up to here, and it is perfectly timed so when you have this thing actually set up it'll be good to go. So now all we have to do now is connect up the top bit there to the lever here and add the other input, and we are done. So all you want to do is place a block here and place a button somewhere on the side. Then you want to go up 2 blocks here, placing your lever on the front. Then you want to come around the back here, place a redstone torch, followed by a block. Then we're just going to staircase up until we get to the same height as this, and connect it up and place redstone on top of all these blocks, so that way the piston should look like this. So now you are done. Just one tip for when you're actually firing it, don't forget to place your cobwebs along here like so, because that's where the sand is going to be caught. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So hope you guys did enjoy this video. You have just successfully made yourself a giant TNT cannon. It certainly took me a long time to make this and record it, and I'm sure it'll take even longer to edit it. But anyway, hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like, and if you do want to see more videos, 2 videos a week in fact, then hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time with TNT Madness.